Hello everyone, good morning. Today is 13th of April. My name is Sahil and welcome to the newspaper analysis. So friends, in the today's video, we are going to discuss the entire analysis of the Hindu newspaper. Fine, we will be taking the articles from the background, we will be understanding the present issue and the way forward associated with the articles also will be going to see. Now, these are guys first of all the important and relevant articles into the today's newspaper which are relevant for the UPSC CSE examination. Now first of all we can see that the first article that we are going to take, it talks about the India US 2+2 dialogue 2+2 meet that has happened. So what are the key takeaways in this direction we are going to see, and this article will be important for our GS paper number 2 under the topic of international relation. And here I have clubbed two articles, one from the editorial section page number 8 and other from the page number 13. So the page numbers are also given here, you can see it. Then the second article that we'll be taking about is recent reform which has been brought by the Reserve Bank of India, where the ATMs from there the people they can withdraw money by using the UPI. So in the topic of digitization of economy, GS paper number 3, digitization of economy, will see this article. Then hops as a route to universal healthcare. So a good suggestion with respect to how to achieve UHC has been provided. So this article will see with respect to paper 2 health. Then the recent creation of the IRMS, where the merger of the railway services have happened, we'll see here, and it will be important with respect to the paper 3 infrastructure resource optimization. Then the next topic is about the basically here we'll see that how the social justice is getting impacted by the imposition of the civil laws. So we'll see this. Then a model struggling to deliver. So this particular article guys, it is talking about that how basically the early childhood care, early childhood education is not being effectively delivered because of many of the challenges that have come. Paper 2, GS paper number 2, on the topic of education. The process of electing India's president. So this is the topic that has been taken from the text and the context section, because now the term of the present president is going to end and the elections for the new president are to be conducted. So this will be important for GS paper number 2 under the polity section. So these are the overview of the articles that we are going to take up today. Now guys, let's discuss all these relevant articles one by one in the detail. But before that, the GS quote for today. So today we'll be taking the quote from the Thomas Jefferson, one of the founding father of the US. He says that information is the currency of democracy. See, when in an basically when we talk about an economy, in economy we need to have a currency which makes that economy functional. Okay, without a currency, the nation, okay, at the nation's economy cannot be functional. In a same way, when we talk about the democracy, what is the currency of democracy? It is information, because information keeps the democracy functional. It keeps the democracy relevant. So you can use this particular idea in the answers related to the GS paper number 2, as well as in GS paper number 4. In GS paper number 4, in the topic number 7, there is a topic of information sharing. There also you can use this particular quote. Now taking up the first article. Okay, so first article here we have actually clubbed the two articles. One is from the editorial and the other is from the page number 13, and both of them are talking about the recent 2+2 meet that has happened between the India and USA. Now first of all guys, before going in this article, let's understand some of the background information or some of the basic information. Okay, so first of all, when we talk about the 2+2 dialogue, now the 2+2 dialogue is a format where the foreign minister and the defense minister from the different countries, they come together and they talk about the strategic as well as security issues that are concerning both of them and how they can be addressed. So this is a kind of a new format of diplomacy that has become very popular into the past few years. Now what has happened, the 2+2 meet has happened between the India and the USA. It means that the India's foreign minister, defense minister, and the USA's foreign and defense ministers, they have met. Now guys, in this particular 2+2 meet, the sensitivities of the both the countries, they can be shared. Now understand that why I'm talking about this point on sensitivities. See, Right now the Russia's and the Ukraine's war is going on. Now the USA has a very clear policy. The USA has outrightly condemned the Russia for the aggression that the Russia has shown. In this particular capacity, basically US has also sponsored many of the resolution against the Russia in the General Assembly, in the Security Council, into the Human Rights Council, everywhere. Fine, so US's policy is very clear onto the Russia, but India is not criticizing Russia openly. And because India is not criticizing Russia openly, USA has certain problems with it. And this is a very sensitive matter. So USA has a sensitivity that Russia should be condemned, but India says that we have our strategic autonomy and we might not be doing that thing. So these sensitivities can also be taken in account at these 2+2 forums. Now guys, when we talk about these 2+2 dialogues, right now we are having this type of diplomacy with the USA. Fine, it has happened. Then we are having it with Australia. Fine, a few months back it had already happened with Australia. Then with the Japan as well as Russia, all of these countries, with them we follow the 2+2 dialogue format. Fine. Now guys, what are the key takeaways on this particular 2+2 meet that has now been culminated? Now fine, I will be telling you what are the key takeaways that are there. Now number one, what has happened guys, India has decided that in order to strengthen the anti-piracy, in order to make the sea lanes more safe and more secured, now India had become an associate partner. Fine, India had become a partner at the combined maritime force. India has become an associate partner. So what is this combined maritime force? So guys, it is a Bahrain based multilateral partnership. So it is a kind of a naval partnership where the different countries are coming together to ensure the security of the civilian maritime traffic. So basically guys, the certain areas are there which are guarded, specifically the Red Sea. There is a Red Sea. After that, the Persian Gulf is there. Then the Gulf of Aden is there. Then Arabian Sea is there, and then the Indian Ocean is there. So in order to keep these areas secured from piracy, from the terrorism, this CMF, that is the Combined Maritime Force, it is a kind of a naval cooperation. So India had become an associate partner. Guys, in this particular thing, more than 30 countries are partner. Fine. So India had also become one of them. So it will. So this is something that has happened. It doesn't have any fixed or fixed political or military mandate. Now, further guys, what has happened? India has also signed with the USA the Memorandum of Understanding on the Space Situational Awareness. Now, first of all guys, you need to understand that recently the Russia had tested its capability to destroy the satellites into the outer space. Because Russia had developed the capability to destroy the satellites into the outer space, so today the USA wants more partners with which it can cooperate, with which it can share the expertise. Clear? So onto the outer space with the India, now this Memorandum of Understanding on Space Situational Awareness has been signed, where the cooperation onto the outer space front will happen. Is it clear? Moreover guys, understand that this also shows the faith of USA into the ISRO's capabilities also. So these are some of the key takeaways that have come guys. Apart from this, there are certain other issues that were also discussed, but not that much important. For example, the USA had actually expressed the concern with respect to the oil imports that we are doing from the Russia, but India has condemned that particular thing. India says that whatever oil we are importing from the Russia in entire 1 month, more than that the Europe imports in less than 1 day. Is it clear? But when Europe is importing, you are not saying something. But when India wants to import the oil from the Russia, USA has a problem. So India has actually given a kind of a very clear reply that fine, the imports of India, they are nowhere near to the imports of the Europe that has been done. Secondly, guys, the USA has also expressed the concern with respect to the human right violation that is going on in India. Clear? The human right violation that is going on in India. So guys, on that particular thing also, basically the thing is that it is internal matter, and onto the internal matter, India is doing well to preserve all these things. There are the forums, there are the platforms where this particular thing is being taken. And guys, the third thing was that USA wanted that the USA wanted that India should come out openly and should criticize the Russia for the invasion of Ukraine that has happened. USA has asked again and again that the democratic values, democratic norms, they are needed to be upheld very clearly. So this is something that has happened. But guys, these things are very common from past many months. Every day we are discussing these issues, but specific things such as India joining the combined maritime force, okay, India signing a memorandum onto the understanding of space situational awareness, this is something that you should note down in your notebook. So that is all guys about this article, and now we'll move to the next article. Now this particular article is taken from the text and the context section of the Hindu newspaper, and it talks about the recent reform, a kind of a recent policy change that has been brought by the Reserve Bank of India. What has happened? First of all, I'll tell you basically the context of this article, and then we'll understand it more in a more deeper sense. So basically, guys, now suppose you want to withdraw some money from the ATM. Presently, if you want to withdraw the money from the ATM, you need to have the debit card, and only by using this debit card you can withdraw the money from ATM. However, there are certain banks such as the HDFC Bank and many other banks which also provide the option for the cardless withdrawal. But that cardless withdrawal can only be done by the people who are having the account in that bank. For example, at the HDFC Bank, only the people having an HDFC account can withdraw the money in a cardless format. Is it clear? So this thing where the cardless withdrawals are there, very few number of banks are providing, and at very few ATMs actually this service is provided. So predominantly today, if you have to withdraw the money from the ATM, you need to have a debit card. But what Reserve Bank of India has provided that now by using the UPI, the Reserve Bank have provided that by using the UPI you can withdraw the money from the ATMs. This particular thing will enhance the digitization of Indian economy further. Is it clear? Now let's understand how this particular thing will be going, how this particular thing will be working. So suppose I went to an ATM and I want to withdraw 5,000 rupees. So what I'll do, the ATM, I'll go to the ATM, and ATM will show me the different options. There will be the one option that is withdrawing the cash by using the UPI. So I have to click on this particular option. Then what will happen? I will input the amount that I want to withdraw. Then onto the ATM screen, there will be a QR code that will be displayed. I will open in my mobile phone the UPI app. In that app, I will scan this particular QR code, and then I will be entering my password, and the ATM will withdraw the cash. Now guys, up till now in the UPI you could only transfer the money from one account to another account. You can transfer it by using the mobile number, by using the virtual private address. So up till now the UPI was just a mechanism for transferring the payment, and now it is also becoming a mechanism for withdrawing the money. So this is something that can happen. Is it clear or not? Now guys, why this particular thing is important? So you need to understand that this thing will actually prevent the card skimming. Now what is the card skimming? Let's understand this particular thing. So guys, basically sometimes what the fraudsters do, they actually install such kind of devices onto the ATM. Clear? Now they come in different shapes, different types. So what will happen, this particular kind of a device can be installed onto the ATM. Okay, and what will happening when you'll withdraw, when you'll actually be putting your card in this device will take, or it will steal all the information of your card. Is it clear? Now in the card there is a magnetic strip that is there behind the card. Under that magnetic strip your sensitive information is encoded. That information can be stolen in this particular device. Is it clear? Let's say 10 people have come, they have used their device, used their card on this ATM. Everybody's information have been stolen. Then the fraudster will take this particular device, will retrieve the information, and on that particular information's basis he will be making a kind of a clone card. That is called as the process of cloning. Now by this card skimming, the information is stolen, and by the cloning, a duplicate, a fake card will be made, and by that particular card the money can be withdrawn from the accounts of the people. And this card skimming and the card cloning had become a very big problem into the past few years. Now this particular thing will be solved by, because physically you are not inserting the debit card, everything is happening through your mobile app. So this card skimming, the stealing of information by putting some kind of a mimicking devices and making a fake card will be solved. So this is something that has happened. But guys, at the same time, the security of these apps are further needed to be bolstered up. This is something that is needed. So in this particular way, this reform is going to help. So guys, I hope that you have understood it, and that is all about this article. Now we'll move to the next article. Now, this particular article we have taken from the editorial section, and it is talking about the hops. Now, guys, the article has been written by it has been written by the John Dries. Okay, he has been a social thinker, he has been a welfareist economist, okay, and had talked about on many of the welfareist models, that how basically we can, now he had given the solutions on many of the things, how to reform MG Narega, for example, how to reform the foundational learning into the schools. Today in this article he is talking about a suggestion as how to bring the universal healthcare in the country. This article will be important under the topic of health, GS paper number 2. Now let's understand that what is provided in this particular article. Now guys, understand first of all, what do we mean by this particular word, the UHC, universal healthcare? Now universal healthcare means that the state needs to come out with certain strategies, the state needs to come out with certain mechanism that everybody is being provided as a healthcare service. Nobody should be denied the healthcare because he is not able to pay. Nobody should be denied healthcare simply because the hospital was not available into the vicinity. So universal healthcare means that every person should have the access to the health services when they need, fine, wherever they need. Is it clear? Without any financial hardship and without any other type of hardship as well. Now the universal healthcare, guys, it has become a very important part of the public policy. Even the good governance documents, even the sustainable developmental goals, SDGs, which were signed in 2015 and has to be achieved by 2030, within the SDG there are the goals specifically on the universal healthcare. Now guys, many of the world countries, they have working on providing the universal health care. Clear? Brazil, okay, Sri Lanka, Thailand, okay, China, Britain is the one very good example which is trying to provide the universal health care. Now guys, when we talk about the universal healthcare, the one country that we will be talking about here is the Britain's example. Now the Britain, it is running a program, and the name of the program is the NHS, that is the National Health Service. Into the National Health Service, everybody can go to a public hospital and can avail the health facilities virtually at free of the cost or highly subsidized prices. So as in India we have the public hospitals, the government hospitals, where you can go and can take the treatment virtually at very subsidized prices. In the same way, in the Britain they have the NHS. Now guys, after studying the NHS of the Britain, there was a Bohr committee that was constituted, and the Bohr committee of 1946 also suggested that in India a kind of an NHS type of system should be established. Is it clear? Now guys, when we talk about the universal health care, there are the two models by which the universal health care can be provided. One is the public service model and other is the social insurance model. Now what is the difference between both of them and what they are? Now we are going to discuss. So what is the public service model? So guys, the public service model is this, that there will be the government owned facilities, there will be the government owned hospitals where anybody can go and can take the health care. Okay, it will be free of cost or it will be highly subsidized. So this is the public service model. Then the next come is the social insurance model. Now what is the social insurance? So here there will be a compulsory insurance of everybody, and whenever a person will fall ill, by using this particular social insurance he can get the treatment. He can get the treatment into the private hospitals. Clear? So there is a social insurance model. Now guys, this particular social insurance, it is different from the traditional insurances. Why? Number one, the premium of these particular social insurances, either they will be very much subsidized or the premium will be paid entirely by the government. So premium will be either subsidized, highly subsidized, or will be entirely be paid by the government. So this is the social insurance, and the social insurance is mandatory on everybody. So this is something that could be the another model where everybody can be provided healthcare. Okay, so guys, you now see, if there is a hospital which is not charging, anybody can go and take the healthcare. Secondly, if I have an insurance and cashless settlement will be made, then also I can go even to a private hospital, I take my treatment, and at the back end in a cashless form, okay, the settlement will be paid by the insurance company. So this is something that has happened. Now guys, into the social insurance, the in this particular entire thing is financed from the general taxation, and there is a single non-profit agency into the public interest who is working to make this particular thing possible. Now, it has been provided that, see, there are certain challenges into this social insurance system or in this entire UHC model. We'll see this thing. Number one, it has been provided that when we talk about the social insurance, into this, you cannot completely rely on the social insurance. Clear? What will happen? You need to see, you need to have certain public hospitals as well along with this social insurance. If the public health facilities will not be there, then what will happen? There will be the private sector that will come, and the private sector will provide very much expensive healthcare, and bearing the cost, reimbursing those expensive private hospitals will become very much difficult by this social insurance, and this entire policy will fall. So you need to have a mix of both private hospital as well as large number of public hospitals, because in public hospitals the services will be provided at very low prices. They can be they can be compensated or they can be reimbursed by the social insurance, but the commercial interest private hospitals might be certain times it will become difficult to pay back them. So this is something that has happened. Now guys, it is provided that, see, many a times or some countries have come out with a kind of an alternative. They had come out with this alternative that, say, suppose a person is taking the treatment in some of a private facility, then certain part has to be paid by that person. For example, 30% or the 40% of the treatment cost will be paid by the person who is getting a treatment. So this is the co-payment model that is there. Now this co-payment model, first of all, it will defeat the real purpose for which this universal healthcare was constituted. When universal healthcare was constituted, it was provided that nobody will be denied healthcare because he cannot pay. Now suppose a person is absolutely poor, he cannot even pay the 20%, 30% of the cost. Let's say a 10 lakh rupee treatment is there, he cannot pay 2 lakh rupees. So this co-payment model is not desirable, it will defeat the UHC. So only one possibility that is there is that you need to have large number of public hospitals. Now what would be the possible route of the universal healthcare for India? What we can do in India? So it has been suggested that in India we need to come out with a model which is called as the healthcare as an optional public service HOPS model. HOPS model. Now HOPS model stands for healthcare as an optional public service. Now what is the idea of this particular model? It provides that, see, anybody can go to the public hospital, anybody can go to the public hospitals, the treatment will be provided free of cost, and virtually every type of treatment can be availed at this public hospital. But at the same time, there will also be the private hospitals where you can go and you can take treatment if you have the capacity to pay. In the private facilities, the government will not be paying, you have to pay from your own pocket, but at the same time you have the option at the public hospitals as well. Clear? Guys, it has been provided that when we talk about the states such as the state of Kerala and the Tamil Nadu, large number of illnesses or mostly all the illnesses, they can be dealt very satisfactorily into these public sector facilities without the low cost. It is provided. Now guys, see, first of all, if I'll tell you very frankly, this system is presently going on in country. It is not something which is suggested that, okay, it is something a very new, very novel thing that has come. No, already it is going on also into the country. Now, the author provides that this HOPS model, it will obviously not be completely egalitarian as the NHS or the National Health Insurance model, okay, but it will provide a large uniformity. Is it clear? See guys, understand that actually what is needed in India, we need to have the a kind of a strong vertical of the public hospitals, but one thing is that we need to focus that user experience should be enhanced into these public hospitals. The public hospitals capacity is to be enhanced, more funding is to be provided to the public hospitals. They are to be provided with the adequate human resource so that they can deal with the large number of people who are getting admitted there. Moreover, the presence of the public hospitals, community hospitals, primary healthcare facilities throughout the country, it is needed to be enhanced. So this is something that has been provided. It has been provided that, guys, actually the social insurance, it carries a risk that basically the people, if they were provided social insurance, they will use that cover for the expensive tertiary care, and paying for the expensive tertiary care right now might not be into the capacity of the government. So this is something that has been provided, and guys, very good ideas are given which can be used directly in your GS paper number 2, social justice topics related to the health. So that is all about this particular article, and now we'll be moving to the next article. A merger to better manage the Indian railways. So this article is again taken from the editorial section, and this article is talking about the new service IRMS that has been created. So first of all, guys, this article will be important in GS paper number 3, infrastructure. It can also be used in fact in GS paper number 2, that is the that is the governance reforms. Why? Because it will be helping to govern the railway bureaucracy in a better way. Now, first of all, what has happened, or telling you the context. So guys, recently Indian Railway Management Service has been created, and this IRMS has been created by merging 8 out of the 10 Group A Indian Railway services. So earlier there was these large number of railway services that were there. They were being filled up independently. Now all these services, they have been merged into the IRMS, that is the Indian Railway Management Services. Now let's see. It has here the IRTS, Indian Railway Traffic Service, has been merged. Indian Railway Personal Service has been merged, Indian Railway Account Service, Indian Railway Service of Electrical Engineers, Indian Railway Service of Signal Engineers, Indian Railway Service of Mechanical Engineers, Indian Railway Service of Civil Engineers, Indian Railway Store Services. All these services have been merged by the IRMS. Now guys, for the IRMS, what will happen now? The future applicants who want to join IRMS, if you want to join the IRMS which contains all these 8 services, you can apply through the UPSC Union Public Service Commission. So UPSC will be taking the examination, and from there these service people will be appointed. Now guys, it has been provided that basically after the see, when this particular reform was suggested, it was said that it will bring the reform into the railway bureaucracy. The railway, it is the railway management, it is a very daunting task. Okay, now it is provided that it will help that, but whether really such kind of thing will be easing the railways, we are going to assess this. Now it has been provided that the railway officer, virtually every day of the year is his working day. He or she has to prove his or her capabilities every day. Clear? Maintaining the safety is there. Then they have to ensure the punctuality. Then they need to have the knowledge of technology. They need to have the knowledge of management. So you need to be a manager, you need to be a technocrat, you need to be a disciplined officer, you need to have leadership. Is it clear? All these things are needed to be there. Then the railway officer needs to continuously update their knowledge. This is something that is needed. Now guys, it is provided that okay, through the IRMS now the people will be appointed, but already the people who were working in all these 8 services, they are still there, and the people who were earlier appointed into the last 25, 30, 15 years, they are still there. Changing their mindset is actually very much important. Fine. So UPSC will every year be recruiting a few hundred IRMS officers, but guys, they will be very less into the number for next 20 to 30 years. For next 20 to 30 years, actually the earlier existing officers, they will be into the large number. So actually the skilling and the training of the existing cadre of officer is something which is very much important. We need to work on that particular thing. Now guys, it is provided that actually we need to focus on to the initial training, on the of the people who are now getting admitted into these services. Then there needs to be the mid career training, then there needs to be the training for the people who have already joined. It needs to be reoriented. Only then the IRMS will be a successful thing. Now it has been provided in this particular article that, guys, see, already for the reform into the bureaucracy, last year government had come out with the mission Karma Yogi. Now this mission Karma Yogi provides that there needs to be the role based order. Under the role based order, the officers, onto the basis of his or her competency, the officer should be given the task. So it is provided that within the railways also we need to map the competencies of the officers, and onto the basis of their competency they are to be given the postings, responsibilities, etc. So IRMS, just a restructuring will not help. We need to train the existing officers along with the incoming officers. This is the core idea that is given in this article. And now we'll be moving to the next article. Branded a criminal for following the custom. Now this article is again taken from the editorial section of the Hindu newspaper, and here we are going to discuss that how one criminal law is actually it is actually coming in, it is interfering with the tribals, traditions, and their customs. Okay, so let's discuss. This article will be important under GS paper number 2, social justice. So guys, see, in the Nilgiris there are many of the tribals that are living. Nilgiris in the Tamil Nadu, there are many tribals that are living. For example, there are the Todas, Kotas, Irulas, Pania, fine, Katuneakas, Kurumbas. All these tribal communities are living into the Nilgiri region of the Tamil Nadu. Fine. Now these tribals, they have a tradition that they marry early. First of all, you need to understand that much of the tribals, they don't have any written evidences about their date of birth. Clear? And there is a tradition that they are getting married on the onset of puberty. Now the onset of puberty could be around 14-15 years of age. At that time they are getting married. Now guys, actually there is one particular law which does not allow this particular thing. Number one, there is the Prohibition of Child Marriage Act, A, that is there. After that, there is one more other law, that is the POXO. Now the POXO is the Protection of Children from the Sexual Offences Act. Now this POXO Act, it was passed in 2012, and it provides that every person below the age of 18 years will be child. Is it clear? And under this particular act, it is also provided that the consent of a person will not be valid if a person is less than 18 years of age. Suppose there is two people, A and B. Now the A and B had involved into a consensual sexual activity. Fine. If one of them is less than 18 years of age, their consensus will not count. Is it clear? So it means that any person committing a kind of a sexual intercourse, making any kind of a sexual relation with a person less than 18 years of age, that thing will be considered as a rape under the POXO's provision. Fine, I hope you understand this basic thing. Under the POXO, there is one more provision. It provides that if any girl less than 18 years of age is being admitted into the hospital for the delivery of a child, then the hospital needs to report this particular thing to the police. What will then be happening? Police will come. Police will actually arrest the person who had caused that particular pregnancy. Now what is the problem that comes here is that, guys, that actually the tribals, they are marrying when they are less than 18 years of age. Now the girls, either they will go for non-institutional delivery, but due to this non-institutional delivery, the IMR increases, the MMR increases, or they will go for institutional delivery. And when they'll go for institutional delivery, these tribals are being arrested onto the charge that you had married with a girl who was less than 18 years of age, and you had also carried the sexual intercourse with the girl, and that is a violation of the POXO Act. So the tribals are getting arrested. Now it has been provided that, see, the tribals, they have maintained their customs for much a long period of time. Okay, it is provided that, for example, when we talk about the polyandry is practiced by the Gelongs of the Arunachal Pradesh. Clear. Now the polyandry is a practice where one woman is marrying the when will be marrying more than one male. Clear. One woman having the multiple husbands, that is the polyandry. So the polyandry is practiced by the Gelongs in the Arunachal Pradesh. Why? Because sometimes the families, they are poor, they cannot afford to pay the bride price. Okay, the bride price. Okay, so the bridals, they have to be paid a bride price. Some families are not able to pay, so multiple brothers, they marry one woman. This is a polyandry that they are taking up. Now this polyandry gives them a kind of an economic advantage. Now secondly guys, when we talk about the tribals, they have a low life expectancy when compared with other people, and because of the low life expectancy, many tribal communities, they are marrying before the age of 18 years. Is it clear or not? But this particular law is punishing them. It is provided that into the Arnab Manoranjan Goswami versus State of Maharashtra, Supreme Court had very clearly provided that the basic rule of criminal justice system is bail and not jail. Is it clear? But what happens? The tribals, they are being lodged into the jail for such a long period of time, and all their rights are getting violated here. So guys, I'll not be taking a very clear stand that who is wrong here, because obviously the laws are meant in a certain way. Sometimes the laws are needed to be applied in a universal way, but at the same time the tribals concerns are also genuine. So this is something, an example that could be there, that how a liberal law is actually coming in conflict with the traditional practices. So that is all about this particular article, and now we'll move to the next article. A model struggling to deliver. Now, this article is again taken from the Hindu newspaper editorial section, and it is talking about the early childhood care and early childhood education in particular. Now, guys, understand this particular thing, that when we talk about the brain of a child, see, brain till the age of 6 years, the brain till the age of 6 years is having the capability that it can be molded in any particular direction. Till the 7 to 8 years, your 95% of brain has been developed. Is it clear or not? So therefore, utilizing first 3 4 years of life and giving a good cognitive skills to a child in this particular age happens to be very important. Now guys, in order to emphasize and in order to promote the early childhood care and the education, what has happened in 2013, we have come out with a dedicated policy. There was the National Early Childhood Care and Education Curriculum that came in 2013, and it provided that there needs to be a playway curriculum in the Anganwadi centers. Playway curriculum means that by involving children in activity, by involving them into the playful ways, you needed to teach certain of the cognitive skills to the child. It was something which was provided. Then in 2018, the transformation of aspirational district initiative came. In this particular scheme also, it was provided that into the aspirational districts, through a playful manner, the children in the first of 3 4 years of their life, they are to be provided the cognitive skills. Now the aspirational districts are those districts which have very poor socioeconomic indicators. Then the National Education Policy of 2020 came. It also provided that giving the playway education to the children, giving them the early education is very much important, and here the role of Anganwadis was appreciated, and it was said that the Anganwadi workers can be utilized here. Now guys, when we talk about the Anganwadi centers, Anganwadi workers, they fall under the purview of the Integrated Child Development Service, ICDS scheme. ICDS provides 6 types of services. It provides the supplementary nutrition. Fine. Basically, what happens in the rural areas, there will be an Anganwadi center that will be developed. Under this Anganwadi center, there will be the Anganwadi workers. These Anganwadi workers will be implementing this ICDS scheme, Integrated Child Development Services scheme. Under this particular scheme, 6 types of services are to be provided to the mothers, as to the lactating mothers, to the pregnant women, as well as to the children. What these 6 services are? Supplementary nutrition is to be provided. Basically, non-formal preschool education is to be provided. Okay, immunization is to be carried, health checkups are to be provided. So in this way, 6 services are to be provided. Now guys, the Anganwadis, they have been given an important responsibility of the preschool education, and this preschool education is to be provided at low cost through the locally sourced material, fine, and the non-formal preschool education that is being provided should also cater to the socio-cultural context of the mother, the children who are situated, fine. So below 6 years, all these things are to be provided to a child. Now it is provided that, guys, actually it has been studied by many reports that the children who are being given the early education, they develop good cognitive skills. Even an impact study onto the early childhood by the Center for Early Childhood Education and Development at the Ambedkar University, as well as ASER, Annual Status of Education Report Center, found that the children who regularly participate into the preschool program perform better than the children who do not participate. Now understand, guys, see, today when we talk about the preschool education, what has happened? Anganwadis are not able to provide the preschool education. The preschool education is being provided by into the preschools that have been developed by the private sector. Now virtually every street, every colony is having a privately run preschool center. So there they are being provided the education. Now the ASER as well as the church, the Center for Early Childhood Education has appreciated that it is important, but at the same time they are also provided that the preschool education that is being provided, it is not developmentally appropriate for the child. The result that they are delivering and the result that can actually come, there is a wide difference between them. So therefore it is provided that actually we need to strengthen the Anganwadis so that they can provide the adequate and the relevant preschool education to the child. Now it is provided that, see, today the problem is that our Anganwadis, they are under resourced, they are overburdened. Even the Ministry of Women and Child Development has accepted this thing that they are under resourced, they are overburdened. Even they don't have adequate spaces into the Anganwadi centers. They don't have the play based learning materials, equipments and aids into the Anganwadi centers. So Anganwadis are not able to provide it. Clear? The pandemic came and 28 million children got impacted. Anganwadi centers were closed, private schools were closed. UNICEF had provided that 28 million children got impacted. But there have been certain Anganwadis in certain of the states which have still performed very well, and we need to learn from them. Into the Gujarat we have the Ambare Anganwadi. Now the Ambare Anganwadi, it means a doorstep Anganwadi. What happened here? Under this particular initiative, a video series was prepared which contained the educational modules, easy to follow activities, and they were telecasted on the online platforms. The children, their parents, they saw those particular telecast, and through them the education was provided to the children. This is something very good. Clear? After that, the Anganwadi workers into the Haryana, Punjab and Odisha, they have visited the homes, and at the homes they have conducted the activities with the children. So these two are very good examples. But guys, again here comes the resource crunch. Number one, when in the online manner the play modules are being provided, the people are not having the mobile phone, the children are not having the mobile phone, internet connection is a problem there. So this thing is, it becomes less successful. Second thing, guys, is that basically Anganwadi's workers, when they're going to the homes, there is a limitation to that. They cannot virtually visit every home. Fine, only few homes they can go. So this is also a limitation. So we need to hire more and more Anganwadi workers. We need to give them more resource. So this is all which is provided in this article. So guys, I hope that you have understood it. Now we'll move to the next article. Now, the process of electing India's president. So what has happened, guys, basically this year the president of India's election are to be carried, and because the president of India's elections are to be carried this particular year, this topic becomes very much important. So please do read it from your Lakshmikant for the prelims as well as for the mains examination. Briefly, let's discuss about the election process of the president. So guys, first of all, when we talk about the president, guys, Article 52 to Article number 78 and Part 5 of the Indian Constitution talks about the provisions related to the President of India. Now, first of all, guys, when we talk about the president's elections are indirect election. Okay, people don't directly vote for the president election; they are the indirect election. And the elections of the President of India, they are overseen by the Election Commission of India. Now, who can vote for the president? So guys, into the president's election there will be an electoral college that will be prepared. In this electoral college there will be all the members, elected members, please note down it very clearly, elected members of the Lok Sabha will be there, elected members of the Rajya Sabha will be there. Then the elected members of the state legislative assemblies will be there. Elected members of the assembly of the Delhi and Puducherry will be there. It means nominated members from nominated MLAs will not vote, nominated MPs will not vote. So elected MPs and elected MLAs will be voting in this particular process, and electoral college will be created. Now guys, it is provided that before actual voting for the president, okay, comes the nomination stage. Now see, earlier what used to happen, anybody can stand for the election of the president. Even the candidates who did not had any possibility that they'll be winning, they were standing for the president's election. So therefore what happened in 1974, a new provision was added by the Election Commission of India. Election Commission of India is provided that if anybody wants to stand for the election of the president, at least there needs to be the 50 proposers. Now who can be these proposers? Proposers will be the electors. I told you the electoral college. Into the electoral college, the MPs of Rajya Sabha, MPs of Lok Sabha, MLAs, elected ones, they will be there. So out of them, 50 proposers needed to be in support of a person if he wants to stand for for the election of president. And then there needs to be 50 seconders. So let's say Mr. A wants to stand for the president's election. So there needs to be the 50 of the MPs or MLAs who proposed this name, and 50 other people should support this particular decision. They will be the seconders. Okay, so this is something that is needed. Now guys, it is provided that basically the voting process is carried by all the MPs and the MLAs who are elected. Now you understand that the MPs and MLAs, their vote is not calculated as one vote. There is a value that is given to the every MPs and MLAs vote. Now the MPs of both Rajya Sabha as Lok Sabha, they have a fixed value. For example, the value of the vote of an MP or the of the Rajya Sabha or the MP of the Lok Sabha, their value is fixed at 708. So MP's value of vote, one vote will be is equal to 708. Find both. Now the MLA's value of the vote is not fixed. What will be the value of an MLA's vote? It will depend on to the state, that state's population, the number of MLAs from that particular state. Is it clear or not? So MLA's vote is determined by a formula. How we determine the value of an MLA's vote? So what is done? The population of a state is divided by the total number of MLAs in that particular state. Whatever number will come, it will be then be divided by 1000, and by that particular, on that particular basis, basically the value of the vote can be determined. Now on this particular basis, guys, the different state, they have the different values. Fine. For example, the MLA's value into the Maharashtra, one vote of an MLA of Maharashtra, its value is 175. When you talk about the smaller states, for example the Arunachal Pradesh, the value of the Arunachal Pradesh's MLA is very less, just 8. Clear? Maharashtra 175. Is it clear or not? So this is something that is there. When we talk about the UP, it has the highest. A UP's MLA, its value is 208. Okay, so every state's MLA will have different value depending on to the population of that particular state, number of MLAs in that particular state, all these things. Now guys, as of today, 1971 census population is taken. Okay, this thing will stay in force till 2026. After 2026, the census of 2021 can be chosen, or some other census can be chosen, but till 2026, the population which is taken in account is from the 1971 census. Okay, so on this particular basis, everybody's vote is given certain value, and the total value, okay, total value of all the votes of MPs, the total value of all the votes of MLAs, total value is around 10,98,903. Now guys, understand, I am telling you very clearly, these numbers are not something that you have to remember. Just to put the things into the perspective, just to put the things into the context, I am using these numbers, but you don't to remember them. So this is the value that is there. Now guys, if a person needs to get elected as a president, he needs to have 50% plus one vote. Is that clear or not? So first past the post system that we are following, that we follow into the elections of the MPs and MLAs, where anybody who is having more number of votes will be elected. Here that system is not there. You need to have at least 50% plus one vote. Is it clear? And this is something that is needed to be there. Now guys, we follow into the president's election single transferable voting system. Into the single transferable voting system, every of the elector, that is the MP and the MLA, when they are going to vote, they will tell the preference order. Suppose there are the four candidates, they will tell that okay, Mr. A is, let's say, first preference, Mr. C is, let's say, second preference, Mr. D is, let's say, third preference, and Mr. B is, let's say, fourth preference. Okay, so what will happen? Everybody will be choosing the preference order for the people for whom they are going to vote. Is it clear? If in this particular process any one person gets 50% plus one vote, he will be chosen as elected. If nobody gets the 50% plus one vote, what will happen? The person who got the least number of vote, he will be removed from that list, and in that particular person's votes will be okay. How it will happen, I'll tell you. Suppose B Mr. B got the least number of first priority votes. Let's say he got only 10 votes, in which the first priority was Mr. B. What we'll then do? We will see the ballot papers that, or the votes that Mr. B got. Obviously, the first preference will be Mr. B. We'll see that who was the second preference. Let's say out of these 10 votes, in 3, second preference was A. So more 3 votes will be given to A. Let's say out of these 10 votes, into the 4 of them, the second preference was C. So the votes of the C will increase in that particular manner. So this process will be repeated till the time that a person is getting 50% plus one vote, and only then he will be chosen as the president. Then guys, further it is being provided that now, as in some of the states the BJP is not having a majority, so this year there might be a possibility that a president can come who is being proposed by the opposition. Okay, so an opposition's president could be there. This is something that is coming, but that vote dynamics, fine, which political party's presidential candidate will be coming, you don't need to go too much into the detail. So that is all guys about this particular article, and with this we come to an end to the today's newspaper analysis. So that is all. Now we'll be meeting tomorrow. Till then, please take care of yourselves. Thank you so much.